The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has announced the postponement of the governorship and state houses of assembly elections, initially scheduled to hold on Saturday, March 11. The elections will now hold on March the 18th. This has come just hours after the Court of Appeal sitting in Abuja granted a request by the Commission to reconfigure the bimodal voter accreditation system used for the conduct of the February 25 presidential and National Assembly elections. In a statement, INEC National Commissioner and Chairman, Voter Education and Publicity Committee, Festus Okoye, said the decision to postpone the polls was made to ensure adequate time to back up data stored on the over 176,000 BVAS machines from the presidential and National Assembly elections, and then reconfigure the machines for the governorship and House of Assembly elections. Justice Joseph Ike of the Court of Appeal, adding a ruling on an ex parte application delivered on March 3rd, granted permission to the presidential candidates of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, and Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi, to inspect all the electoral materials used in the conduct of the election for the office of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, held on February 25, 2023. Our correspondent, Godfrey Isiemoge, reports.
With challenges.
So don't do double packing.
This courtroom packed full with party supporters and politicians, including Peter Obi of the Labour Party. Tension is high as people await the Court of Appeal's ruling on whether INEC can reconfigure its electoral machines BVAS or not to do so ahead of Saturday's governorship and state houses of assembly polls. Obi, along with Atiku Abubakar of the PDP, who contested in the presidential elections, had expressed fears about INEC's application seeking to reset the BVAS machines ahead of this weekend's state-level elections. The three-member panel, led by Joseph Ike, however, granted permission to INEC to reconfigure the BVAS for the next round of polls, but directed INEC to ensure that it uploads the February 25th presidential results data to its back-end server and make certified true copies available for all respondents. In what looks like a win-win for all parties, the court also maintained its earlier order made on March 3rd, allowing Obi and Atiku to inspect sensitive electoral materials. It also went ahead to grant presidential candidate of the APC, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, access to inspect the same sensitive electoral materials for the defense of his case. The ruling brought some respite for lawyers representing the different parties in court.
The fears of Nigerians is allayed because we're going to conduct governorship election as scheduled by INEC. We have two elections on that day. Governorship election and state houses assembly election. These are what we are going to conduct on the 11th of March, inshallah.
The reliefs granted by the court on the 3rd of March 2023 stand. In other words, they have to comply with the orders of court and allow us have access. And we need just 7 days to have all that we need. Because without exercising our right to have access to all these reliefs I've mentioned, that simply means that our petition is indirectly being affected.
The good news is that the initial order of the court made on the 3rd of March, permitting Peter Gregory Obi and Labour Party to inspect the facilities of INEC, including the BVAS machine, which they intend to use to prove their petition. Those orders are sustained. The application seeking to vary it was refused.
All is now set for the parties to conduct their forensic examination of the ballot papers and other electronic documents and materials used by the electoral body on election day, as Nigerians await the commencement of hearing for what many have termed an interesting legal battle ahead. Godfrey Isiemoge, Arise News.
Dr. Festus Okoye is INEC National Commissioner and Chairman of the Commission's Information and Voter Education Committee. He joins us now. Thank you very much for joining us, Dr. Okoye, live from Makurdi.
Thank you so much.
Yes, Dr. Okoye, today will have been election day. The INEC has had to postpone it till next weekend. Well, INEC had to do this, I guess, to obey the rule of law. But how much relief is INEC getting from that? The whole plan is to take time out to reconfigure the BVAS and follow up on the other orders of the court, including allowing the aggrieved parties, in this case, the parties to the suit before the Presidential Election Tribunal, to inspect all materials in relation to the elections conducted on February 25. Would these aggrieved parties also be part of the monitoring of the reconfiguration? Because Nigerians no longer trust INEC, if I may tell you that.
Those you call aggrieved parties will not be part of the reconfiguration of the BVAS because the BVAS is a sensitive election material. Moreover, the BVAS is not in INEC headquarters. The BVAS is located in all the 774 local government areas of the Federation where we mobilized from and conducted the February 25th, 2023 presidential and national assembly elections. These are the places where the BVAS are located. And as I speak, the BVAS is already being configured. Now, I think that there's some form of misunderstanding relating to this whole process of reconfiguration of the BVAS. The only thing the Commission is doing is only to reset the BVAS to recognize the election type being governorship and state assembly elections, and also to recognize the new dates when we are going to conduct this election, and the time frame within which the BVAS has to open, and the time frame within which the BVAS has to lock. That's exactly what we are doing. The configuration of the BVAS in terms of imputing or uploading the data of each registered voter had already taken place before the Presidential and National Assembly.
Hello, Dr.
Resetting the BVAS. Yes.
Please go ahead. Go ahead. The screen was closed.
During the process of resetting the BVAS, the only thing the BVAS does is to make sure that if there are pending data within the BVAS itself, that it is uploaded into the accreditation back-end server. And so if there is still data remaining, the BVAS will not allow itself to be reconfigured until the BVAS records a successful upload. And so in terms of allowing individuals to come and witness the resetting of the BVAS, the Commission will not allow that because the BVAS contains sensitive information relating to the biometrics of individuals. And I don't think that any other Nigerian has the right to the biometrics of other individuals because it can be used to commit a criminal offense. So we are not going to allow other individuals to access the BVAS.
Okay, while INEC is obeying the court order with regard to the reconfiguration of BVAS, well, not necessarily an order, the court practically granted a prayer of INEC in that regard. INEC is being accused of not obeying the order of the court in terms of allowing the Labour Party, the PDP, to inspect election materials. Additionally, the APC was also granted permission to inspect election materials. And right now, Labour Party is threatening to picket INEC offices nationwide because they accuse INEC of flagrant disobedience of a court order that has been duly served on INEC. Is INEC guilty as charged?
Commission will not deliberately or flagrantly disobey the order of a properly constituted court of law. And in this case, the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal sitting as the Court of Appeal. Now, I think that what the lawyers involved in this election should do is to send lawyers who understand the trajectory of the electoral process to come to the commission and request for some of these materials. Now, if you are requesting for ballots, to scan ballot papers used during the elections. Those ballot papers are not in the headquarters of the Independent National Electoral Commission. Some of these ballot papers are still in our local government offices. And so the proper place to inspect them or to scan them will be our local government offices. The commission at the national level does not conduct elections. Elections are conducted at the state level and also at the local government level. And so, depending on the type of material you are looking for, we now direct you to the appropriate place where you are going to get those materials. If you are looking for the accreditation data relating to the number of individuals that were accredited during the conduct of the presidential and national assembly elections, we can download the accreditation data from the back end of the commission and then certify and give to you. But if you are looking for ballot papers that were used during the election, if you are looking for some other materials that were used during the election, we have to properly direct you to our state offices and to our local government offices, because those things are not in the national headquarters of the commission. And so what we are witnessing is that some of the lawyers will just come to the INEC headquarters, submit a letter requesting for certified true copies of over 100 documents, and then walk across the gate and address a press conference alleging that they have been denied access to election materials. No, the moment your letter comes, we need to understand what you are looking for. If you are looking for accreditation data, it will be directed to the ICT. If you are looking for some data relating to a political party, it will be directed to our department in charge of election and party monitoring. If you are looking for ballot papers that were used in the election, it will be directed to our to a different department, to electoral operations and logistics department, and then they will harvest these documents and then give to you on payment of the necessary fees. And so I think that lawyers should be patient and direct their request appropriately, and so that the request can be granted expeditiously. We already have a committee harvesting all these requests because they are coming in torrents, and we are desirous and determined to make sure that every individual, every political party, and every candidate that requests for any material within our possession, that individual, that candidate, and that political party gets those materials, since it is necessary for them to prepare their election petitions.
On February 26, you issued a statement explaining to Nigerians, apologizing to Nigerians, that the failure to upload from BVAS to IREV was as a result of technical glitches. And you promised Nigerians that the commission was going to resolve that and that your engineers were already in charge of that. These engineers, where are they coming from? Are they coming from China or from Korea or from outer space? Such that, Nigerians need to be assured that these issues have been resolved or they've not been resolved, because it will look really ugly for the commission to come again on March 18 and be talking of technical issues and giving excuses about a system that we have been told was foolproof.
This particular commission has never and will never adopt a puritanical approach to any issue and to any challenge. This present commission has always been upfront with information, and also has always been upfront with challenges and weaknesses. Anytime we encounter challenges in the electoral process, we duly inform Nigerians. Anytime we make mistakes within the electoral legal framework, we come forward and explain to Nigerians why that occurred and our ability to remedy such a situation. Yes, I issued a statement on behalf of the Independent National Electoral Commission relating to the challenges we had during the presidential and national assembly election. And within the context of that particular statement, we informed Nigerians that we are working assiduously to make sure that we overcome those challenges and that those challenges do not occur in subsequent elections. We have our in-house engineers, and our in-house engineers informed us that those glitches that occurred during the presidential and national assembly elections have been taken care of, and that we are not going to have those challenges during the governorship and state assembly elections.
Well, IT experts who are familiar with the subject matter are saying that INEC does not even need to ask for any reconfiguration. And they say that BVAS failing shouldn't have been a big deal. After all, INEC talked about fingerprint recognition. INEC talked about facial recognition. We were told that there is backup upon backup, that if one system fails, another would work. So why this fixation with BVAS when INEC had promised us that there are backups and other options? What exactly is the situation?
I have limited knowledge in relation to technology and technologically related issues. So I'm not going to engage in debate with those you call IT experts. What I know is that the machine we use performs three functions. One, during voter enrollment, when we are registering voters, we call it the IVET, that is INEC voter enrollment device. We use it for purposes of voter enrollment. During elections, we call it the BVAS, and we use it for voter accreditation. In other words, it has a fingerprint recognition technology and also a facial recognition device. We use it for purposes of voter accreditation and authentication. Then immediately after elections, we also use it for purposes of result upload. So it performs three functions. In terms of voter enrollment, we didn't have a challenge in terms of voter enrollment. In terms of voter accreditation, there were no challenges in voter accreditation. The only problem and the only challenge we had was during the result upload in terms of the presidential election. And the IT experts within the commission explained to us and also explained to Nigerians that it was due to some technical glitch. I don't have the capacity and the technological know-how to begin to discuss this in detail. But all I know is that the issue of the governorship and state assembly elections, what we are saying is that we need to reset the BVAS in terms of election type and also in terms of the date of the election and also in terms of the period, the time frame within which the BVAS will begin to work. The accreditation data of every registered voter is already resident in the BVAS, so we are not doing any configuration. What we are doing is just to reset the BVAS. And as you know, every device is programmed to work in a certain way. And so those who wrote the program that relates to the BVAS wrote the program in such a way that it will work in certain way, in a certain way. So I think that it is not fair and it will not be right to begin to insinuate that the BVAS must work in a particular way when the BVAS has been programmed and the program has been written for the BVAS to work in a certain way. So if IT experts see it differently, I don't have the capacity to challenge them. All I know is that for the governorship election, we want to set the BVAS to recognize the election type, in this case, 28 governorship elections and 993 state assembly elections. We also want to reset it to recognize the fact that we are no longer going to conduct election on the 11th day of March 2023, but on the 18th day of March 2023. We also want to reset it to also recognize the fact that elections will open at 8:30 in the afternoon and close at 2:30, that it will open at 8:30 in the morning and close at 2:30 in the afternoon. That's all we are doing in relation to the resetting of the BVAS.
Okay, I like the assurance that you are giving about the governorship elections on March 18. But can you also assure Nigerians that results will be transmitted real time from polling units on that day for both the governorship election and the state houses of our assembly, and we will not have a repeat of what happened on February 25. That's a big concern of Nigerians.
You know, this commission learns valuable lessons from every election. And with every election in this country, we keep on improving. We have learned valuable lessons from the challenges we encountered during the presidential and national assembly elections. And we have looked inwards and we have done some in-house evaluation. And we have also done some outside evaluation to really understand why we face the challenges we faced during the presidential and national assembly elections. And we are confident that going into the March 18, 2023 governorship and state assembly elections, that we have overcome those challenges and that those challenges will not reoccur. Now, you see, the issue of result upload was not the only challenge we had. Part of the challenges we had relates to the opening of polls on time. And that is why most of the national commissioners are out there in the field, in the states they supervise, trying to understand why, despite our best efforts, polls did not open at the designated period and at the designated time when we wanted polls to open. We also want to understand why some of the ad hoc staff that were engaged by the commission backed out at the last moment. You will understand that we went into this election, one, with security challenges, secondly, with the fuel scarcity. Some of the transporters at the last moment backed out from agreed agreements, and we had to begin to make alternative arrangements. And so we are putting everything on board to make sure that we overcome all these challenges and give Nigerians a very good election.
Okay, Dr. Okoye, I want to pack 3 questions into one because I'm trying to manage time. Number one, this BVAS that is now the source of, great worry. Why was it not programmed and properly reset before the elections even started? Is it not an indication that INEC was really not prepared? I mean, in the middle of the game, INEC is now talking, we have to reconfigure. Number 2, what is INEC going to do about Justice Iguatu's ruling, Federal High Court Abuja, that people should be, not people, 2 specific persons who went to court, Kufo-Rola, Olusegun and another, Allwell, that is the name of the other person, should be allowed to vote with temporary voters' cards. INEC says he's going to go to a court of appeal to appeal that. That's another question. And the third question, are you aware of a video that has been going around indicating that INEC in fact deliberately rigged the election on February 25? But let's take this break. We'll come back to you and then we'll wrap it up. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back to This Is Live, the Sunday talk show here on the Arise News channel. Our guest is still Dr. Festus Okoye, INEC National Commissioner and Chairman of the Commission's Information and Voter Education Committee. Well, Dr. Okoye, I'm sure you remember the 3 questions I asked you. If you could just address those questions. The video that is in circulation, the point about whether beyond Kufo-Rola, Olusegun and Allwell, who got a ruling from the Court of Justice Iguatu, whether INEC has already appealed, and, just to clarify that, because the court didn't grant the request of the, that this should apply to others. The court said the suit was not filed in a representative capacity. Therefore, it was a judgment in personam as opposed to a judgment in rem. I'm sure you understand that. And then, of course, the question I asked you about, can you assure us that on March 18, results will be uploaded direct from polling units in the gubernatorial and state houses of assembly election? Because I'm not convinced that you have addressed that question, so that we don't go back to where we were on February 25.
On the 4th issue you raised, because I remember the questions you raised before we went on break. On the 4th issue you raised, since the introduction of the smart card reader, we had always programmed the smart card reader to function in a certain way. And those who wrote the programs in such a way that the smart card reader and the BVAS will function in accordance with election type. And this process that is taking place now has always been the standard process that has always taken place. And so we have not really changed anything. What has only changed this time around is just the dynamics at play in terms of some of the political parties also changing their game. Now we are being asked to allow political parties to have digital forensic access to the BVAS. And that is a new terminology that has arisen as a result of the introduction of the BVAS. So since a new terminology has arisen, we have to also respond to that terminology. But as I say, the BVAS was programmed to function in a certain way, and we have not altered the way the BVAS was programmed to function. On the second issue relating to the ruling from the Federal High Court on the issue of the temporary voters card, during the continuous voters registration exercise, this commission did not issue any temporary voters card. What we gave to registrants was what we call a slip. A slip was what we issued. And so we didn't issue any temporary voters card. Now, if you also look at section 16, subsection 1 of the Electoral Act 2022, it makes it very clear that the commission shall, and is mandatory, design, cause to be printed, and control the issuance of voters cards to voters whose names appear on the register. And it also says that the commission may, whenever it considers it necessary, replace all or any voters card for the time being held by voters. And it also makes it very clear in section 47, subsection 1, that any voter that approaches the polling unit on election day must approach the presiding officer with his or her permanent voters card. And it is the commission that determines what a permanent voters card is. But there's an order of court already, and the commission has taken steps to appeal that particular order and vacate that particular order, because we believe that that order is not in conformity with the electoral legal framework. But it's a court order, and we have taken steps to obey that court order. Now, on the third issue you raised, let me make this very clear, that the electoral process provides its own safeguards. Because it provides its own safeguards, it also gives political parties the leeway and the window to understand and be part of what goes on at the level of the polling unit. Now, for the 2023 general election, all the registered political parties nominated poll agents, or those we call party agents, to every polling unit. And these polling agents are supposed to be given a copy of the result sheet the moment elections are over in a particular polling unit. And for instance, the APC nominated a total of 176,223 party agents or polling agents for the election. The Labour Party nominated a total of 134,874 polling agents. The PDP nominated a total of 176,588 polling agents, while the NMPP nominated a total of 176,200 polling agents. So what that means is that at the level of the polling units, these party agents have the results, the primary result from the polling units before the results are even uploaded. So what they ought to do is to look at what has been uploaded in the INEC result being portal. And in the INEC result being portal, as of today, we have over 170,000 of those results already uploaded. So it is just an assurance mechanism that the results are even uploaded in the INEC. But the political parties have to read the results as they emanated from the polling units. So I want to assure Nigerians that this particular commission has taken steps to address some of the challenges recorded during the presidential and national assembly elections. And we are confident that with the measures we have in place, and also with the quality assurance we have conducted, that we are going to have a good governorship and state assembly election. But let me also make it clear that the political parties and the candidates in this election have a responsibility to make sure that the atmosphere at the polling units are conducive for voters to vote. We do not want a situation where any of the presiding officers or assistant presiding officers or any of the poll workers will be subjected into untold hardship or subjected into a process of tourists.
Dr. Okoye, final question, final answer in less than 1 minute. Some people were told, voted without their PVCs on February 25. And yet there's this big confidence in PVC by INEC. But some people voted without PVCs. So, would that happen again on March 18, as briefly as possible?
What we have done is that the accreditation data emanating from the BVAS together with the results emanating from the BVAS, have been uploaded into the accreditation backend, the server of the commission. And so what political parties should do is to cross-match the accreditation data from the IREF and also the physical results they have, and then we have the answer. The commission has made it clear that every registered voter must go through the accreditation process, and we insist that that is the law and that is the procedure that will be applied in all elections conducted by the commission.
Well, thank you very much for joining us, Dr. Festus Okoye, and a commissioner in charge of voter education. Thank you very much indeed.